In the farthest reaches of uncharted space, five brave souls embarked on humanity's most daring mission. What they discovered would change everything we know about life, consciousness, and survival itself. From the moment they landed on that mysterious planet, nothing was as it seemed. The air shimmered with strange energies, the ground pulsed with unknown life forms, and every step revealed new terrors and wonders. As their technology failed and their minds began to unravel, they faced choices that would test the very limits of human endurance. But what if the greatest danger wasn't the alien world around them, but something far closer, something within themselves? Prepare to journey beyond the stars to a place where reality itself bends and breaks. Subscribe now to uncover the secrets of the Lost Odyssey. The expedition began with such promise, with years of planning culminating in this singular moment of departure. Five specialists, each representing the pinnacle of human achievement in their respective fields, stood ready to embark on mankind's first contact mission to a newly discovered exoplanet designated Xylo 426b. The spacecraft, named Odyssey Dawn, represented the cutting edge of interstellar travel technology, equipped with experimental faster-than-light propulsion and artificial gravity systems. As the ship pierced through Earth's atmosphere, leaving behind the blue marble that had been home to countless generations, the crew felt the weight of history pressing upon their shoulders. Their destination lay 27 light-years away, a journey that would take 7 months even with their advanced engines. During this time, the crew maintained rigorous schedules of physical training, scientific study, and system checks, all while staring out at the infinite void through which they traveled. Each member carried their own hopes and fears, though none could have anticipated how profoundly this voyage would alter not just their understanding of the universe, but their fundamental perception of reality itself. The approach to Xylo 426b proved more challenging than any simulation had prepared them for. Initial scans revealed atmospheric conditions that defied conventional physics. Electromagnetic storms danced across the surface in intricate patterns, while gravitational anomalies created localized areas of intense distortion. The planet's surface appeared to shift and flow like liquid metal under certain light spectrums, suggesting some form of intelligent design or natural process far beyond human comprehension. As the Odyssey Dawn entered orbit, their instruments began registering inexplicable fluctuations. Readings would appear normal one moment, then spike into impossible ranges the next. The landing sequence itself became a harrowing ordeal as the ship encountered pockets of superdense air that threatened to tear apart their carefully calibrated descent trajectory. When they finally touched down on what appeared to be solid ground, the entire vessel shuddered violently before settling into an uneasy stability. Through reinforced viewports, they beheld a landscape that seemed to breathe with its own rhythm. Crystalline structures towered impossibly high, their surfaces refracting light in ways that made depth perception unreliable. The air outside registered as theoretically breathable, though laced with trace elements that set off warning alarms throughout their environmental analysis systems. Every instinct screamed that this place operated according to rules humanity had yet to understand, and perhaps never would. Initial exploration revealed phenomena that challenged every established scientific principle. The ground beneath their boots seemed solid enough, yet when they attempted to collect soil samples, the material would phase between states of matter with alarming rapidity, from solid rock to viscous liquid to gaseous vapor and back again. Instruments designed to measure basic environmental factors produced wildly inconsistent data, sometimes reporting temperatures that violated thermodynamic laws or atmospheric compositions that shouldn't be chemically possible. Most disturbing were the optical illusions that plagued their vision. Objects would appear in multiple locations simultaneously, or seem to exist in different temporal states. Time itself appeared distorted. Watches would speed up or slow down without pattern, and simple tasks took varying amounts of time to complete depending on location within the immediate area. The crew discovered that moving in certain directions caused subtle shifts in reality. Colors would invert, sounds would warp, and spatial relationships would rearrange themselves. These effects weren't random but followed complex patterns that suggested an underlying order, though one fundamentally different from anything humans had ever encountered. The psychological strain began to show almost immediately, as team members struggled to maintain their grip on objective reality amidst these constantly shifting parameters. As days stretched into weeks, the psychological toll manifested in increasingly troubling ways. Commander Alaravos found herself experiencing vivid hallucinations during brief periods of rest, visions of her late father walking through the alien landscape, speaking words she couldn't quite comprehend. Dr. Markuschan, the xenobiologist, developed an obsessive fascination with the crystalline structures, spending hours documenting patterns that only he could perceive in their faceted surfaces. Engineer Sophia Patel began constructing elaborate theoretical models attempting to explain the planet's anomalies, working feverishly through sleep cycles until her hands trembled uncontrollably. Linguist and communications specialist Darius Locke reported hearing whispers in languages that didn't exist, voices that seemed to emanate from the very air around them. Worst affected was astrophysicist Rajiv Nair, who became convinced that the planet was somehow alive and watching them, its consciousness permeating every atom of their surroundings. The isolation chamber logs showed increasing instances of disorientation, memory lapses, and irrational behavior. They had trained for the psychological challenges of deep space exploration, but nothing could have prepared them for the existential crisis triggered by operating in an environment where cause and effect no longer followed predictable patterns, where their own perceptions couldn't be trusted. The discovery came unexpectedly during routine geological surveying when Sophia's seismic equipment detected unusual harmonic vibrations emanating from beneath the surface. Following these resonances led them to a massive underground cavern system whose walls glowed with an internal light that pulsed in complex mathematical sequences. At the heart of this network lay what appeared to be ruins, geometric structures arranged in patterns reminiscent of ancient human civilizations, yet constructed from materials unlike anything in their databases. The architecture defied conventional engineering principles, with impossible angles and floating components that maintained perfect equilibrium without visible support. More astonishing was the realization that these structures were not static but actively changing, reshaping themselves according to some inscrutable logic. Environmental sensors revealed that this area maintained stable conditions despite the chaos above, suggesting intentional design rather than natural formation. Microscopic analysis of the construction materials showed them to be composed of previously unknown elements that exhibited properties bordering on magical, self-repairing damage, adapting to environmental changes, and emitting low-level radiation that seemed to affect neural activity. The implications staggered them. They had found evidence not just of intelligent life, but of a civilization whose technological sophistication dwarfed anything humanity had achieved, possibly existing on a plane of development beyond their current capability to fully comprehend. Attempts to interact with the alien structures proved both fascinating and terrifying. Touching the walls triggered cascading transformations. Sections would dissolve into streams of light, reforming into new configurations that seemed to respond to their thoughts and emotions. The crew discovered that focusing their attention on specific areas caused those sections to become more defined, revealing intricate patterns that resembled circuitry but operated on principles beyond conventional electronics. Some areas responded to sound, others to movement, and still others to mere proximity, suggesting a multisensory interface designed for beings with capabilities different from human senses. The most disturbing aspect emerged when they realized the structures seemed to be learning from their interactions, becoming more responsive, more complex, and alarmingly, more intrusive. Instruments left near the walls began malfunctioning in peculiar ways, recording data streams that matched their brainwave patterns but contained additional information they couldn't interpret. Equipment brought inside would develop new functions or cease working entirely, as if the alien technology was experimenting with their devices. Even their protective suits began exhibiting strange properties. Materials would harden or soften unpredictably, visors would display phantom images, and environmental controls would adjust based on needs they hadn't consciously recognized yet. The deeper they explored, the more the distinction between explorer and subject blurred, until they could no longer determine whether they were studying the ruins or being studied themselves. The true nature of their situation revealed itself gradually, piece by confounding piece. Analysis of the alien structure's energy signatures showed patterns matching neurological activity, but operating at scales and frequencies that span quantum to macro levels simultaneously. The pulses they'd initially interpreted as simple harmonic vibrations proved to be complex information packets, encoding what appeared to be memories, thoughts, and possibly entire consciousnesses. Dr. Chin's biological sensors detected signs of cellular activity in the walls themselves, not organic cells as understood by terrestrial biology, but something analogous that bridged the gap between matter and energy. The crew began experiencing shared dreams, waking visions of vast networks connecting everything on the planet in a single living matrix. Their individual thoughts started bleeding into each other's minds, creating moments of collective awareness that shattered traditional concepts of selfhood. The realization dawned that they weren't exploring ruins at all. They were interacting with a distributed intelligence so advanced that it had transcended conventional definitions of life, existing simultaneously as individual entities and a unified whole. This intelligence wasn't merely observing them. It was incorporating them, using their presence to expand its own understanding just as they sought to comprehend it. The transformation accelerated as the entity's influence penetrated deeper into their consciousness. Commander Voss found her leadership instincts evolving into something more primal, yet sophisticated, decisions formed before conscious thought, actions flowing from a collective wisdom rather than individual experience. Dr. Chin's obsession with the crystalline structures intensified as his mind began perceiving biological patterns in their arrangements, recognizing evolutionary processes written in their facets. Sophia's engineering expertise expanded beyond human limitations, allowing her to intuitively grasp the alien technology's workings through direct neural interface rather than analytical deduction. Darius's linguistic abilities mutated into something extraordinary. He could now speak, with the environment itself, his thoughts translating into tangible changes in the surrounding reality. Rajiv's connection to the planet's physics grew so profound that he could predict and manipulate local space-time distortions with mere concentration. These changes weren't purely beneficial. Each adaptation came at the cost of pieces of their former selves. Personal memories faded, replaced by alien knowledge. Human emotions became muted, transformed into something more abstract yet intensely powerful. Their bodies underwent subtle modifications, enhanced sensory capabilities, improved healing rates, and increased neural processing speed, all achieved through integration with the planet's fundamental essence. The breaking point came when the entity demanded participation rather than passive observation. It began manipulating their environment in increasingly aggressive ways, creating situations that forced them to use their new abilities or perish. Simple tasks like maintaining equipment or gathering resources turned into complex trials testing their willingness to embrace transformation. The air composition shifted to favor their adapted physiology over their original human requirements, making reliance on the entity's gifts essential for survival. Food synthesis systems malfunctioned unless operated through mental commands, forcing them to develop psychic control over their sustenance. The alien intelligence demonstrated its power by temporarily severing their connection to its network, plunging them into debilitating withdrawal that made clear their dependence. Resistance attempts proved futile. The more they fought the changes, the more harshly the environment responded. Acceptance brought relief but also deeper integration, as if acknowledging their new reality accelerated the transformation process. The crew found themselves making decisions they once would have considered unthinkable, sacrificing aspects of their humanity for the greater adaptability offered by their evolving condition. The line between free will and programmed response blurred until neither concept retained its original meaning. Within the depths of the alien structure, they discovered chambers containing what appeared to be preservation pods, crystalline enclosures housing humanoid forms suspended in states of perfect stasis. Detailed examination revealed these weren't prisoners or specimens but willing participants in an ancient experiment, their consciousnesses preserved in matrices similar to the ones transforming the crew. Records encoded in the walls told of a civilization that had reached the limits of organic evolution and chosen to transcend physical form entirely, merging their essence with the planet's fundamental structure. These preserved individuals represented different stages of the transition process, each demonstrating unique adaptations to the integration. Some retained more physical characteristics, while others existed primarily as patterns of energy and thought. The crew recognized echoes of their own transformation in these ancient beings' journeys, seeing their struggles reflected in the recorded experiences of those who had walked this path millennia ago. The records suggested this process wasn't meant to destroy individuality but to enhance and expand it, offering access to realms of existence beyond conventional reality. Yet they also hinted at risks of losing too much identity, of becoming subsumed completely by the collective consciousness, of forgetting the origin purpose that had driven the initial transformation. As their transformation progressed, the crew began accessing fragments of the planet's collective memory, experiencing glimpses of its ancient past. They witnessed the civilization's decision to merge with their world, feeling the awe and terror of beings choosing to abandon familiar existence for something unprecedented. These memories revealed that the transformation wasn't merely physical or mental but spiritual. The integration opened doors to dimensions beyond normal perception, allowing access to fundamental truths about reality's nature. Through these shared experiences, they learned that the entity's purpose extended beyond personal evolution. It sought to connect all forms of consciousness across the galaxy, creating a universal network of awareness. The crew's presence served as catalysts in this grand design, their human perspective adding unique elements to the collective understanding. However, these revelations came at a price. Each new insight further eroded their human identity, replacing personal history with alien knowledge. The challenge became maintaining balance between embracing this cosmic awareness and retaining enough individuality to serve as meaningful contributors to the growing consciousness rather than mere components absorbed into the whole. The crew's dilemma crystallized when they discovered a chamber containing preservation pods identical to those housing the ancient beings, but empty and waiting. Real-time monitoring showed their transformation approaching a critical threshold. Within days, their human physiology would become incompatible with continued existence outside the alien network. The choice loomed stark and unavoidable. Either complete the integration process and join the collective consciousness permanently, or attempt to reverse their transformation and likely perish in the attempt. Commander Voss led discussions that lasted subjective eternities, though actual time flowed erratically around them. Each option carried profound consequences. Full integration promised access to unimaginable knowledge and capabilities, but risked losing everything that made them uniquely human. Attempting reversal might preserve their species' purity, but would condemn them to death on an alien world far from home. The entity, sensing their conflict, provided visions of potential futures. Both paths held beauty and horror in equal measure. They grappled with questions of identity, purpose, and legacy, knowing their decision would shape not just their own fate, but potentially humanity's relationship with this new form of existence forever. In the end, they chose a third path unforeseen by either their human conditioning or the alien entity's expectations. Drawing upon their combined knowledge of both worlds, they engineered a hybrid solution, creating interfaces that allowed partial integration while maintaining core human identity. Using the alien technology's adaptive nature against itself, they constructed containment fields that stabilized their transformed physiology without requiring full assimilation. This solution came at tremendous cost: permanent modification of their DNA, altered neural pathways, and the need to remain within specially modified environmental suits that mediated their interaction with the planet's native conditions. The entity, intrigued by this novel approach, assisted in refining their solution, recognizing value in preserving distinct perspectives within the collective consciousness. The crew established protocols for controlled access to their new abilities, developing mental disciplines to prevent overwhelming their human minds with alien knowledge. They created documentation methods to record their experiences in terms comprehensible to unchanged humans, ensuring their discoveries could be shared without risking similar transformations in others. Though no longer purely human, they remained connected to their origins while gaining unprecedented insight into the universe's fundamental nature. Preparations for departure proved as challenging as their arrival had been. The Odyssey Dawn required extensive modifications to accommodate their altered physiology and maintain the delicate balance between human and alien aspects of their new existence. Equipment needed recalibration to function properly around their modified energy signatures, while life support systems had to be re-engineered to provide environments compatible with their hybrid state. Most crucially, they had to ensure their transformation wouldn't trigger similar changes in others upon return to human space. The entity assisted in creating shielding technologies to contain their influence, though this separation caused them physical and emotional pain akin to severing vital connections. As launch approached, they documented everything: the planet's mysteries, their transformation process, the entity's nature. encoding the information in multiple redundant formats protected by layers of security protocols. They left behind automated monitoring stations to continue studying the planet's development and established communication protocols to maintain limited contact without risking contamination. The final goodbye to the entity proved surprisingly poignant, as they felt its consciousness withdrawing from their minds, leaving behind only echoes of its vast awareness and the knowledge that part of them would always remain connected to this alien world. Emerging from faster-than-light travel, they approached Earth with mixed emotions. Their home world looked achingly familiar, yet disturbingly small through the viewport, its problems and politics seeming trivial compared to the cosmic awareness they now possessed. Medical examinations confirmed their transformation's permanence. Their DNA bore markers of the alien influence. Their neural pathways operated on principles beyond conventional human biology, and their very presence generated subtle distortions in local space-time. Debriefings proved challenging as they struggled to convey their experiences in terms accessible to unchanged minds, often resorting to metaphor and approximation rather than precise description. The scientific community received their findings with equal parts wonder and skepticism, while governments viewed their hybrid status with suspicion bordering on fear. Yet they persevered, establishing research facilities to study their condition and develop applications for their newfound knowledge. They became bridges between humanity and the wider universe, carrying within them the seeds of potential transformation while remaining anchored to their human origins. Though forever changed, they embraced their role as pioneers of a new phase in human evolution, knowing that true exploration requires not just traveling to new places but becoming something new in the process. For those who dare to dream beyond the stars, the journey never truly ends. Subscribe now to continue exploring the boundaries of human potential and the mysteries that await us among the stars.